You look pretty today?
I was ready.
I wasn't posing.
Oh no.
Close.
I don't think the. So.
This is racism.
Okay. So there's two questions. The first question should be easy. You have to make sure. So anything with higher degree, higher than the first degree. So this is the second degree, right? The exponent's 2. I always set the equation equal to 0. So it's going to be x squared minus x minus 6. That's equal to 0. Okay. Now from here on, there's 4 ways to solve this problem. But most commonly used way to solve problem is going to be factoring. So I can factor this, and I can show you how to factor that. X squared minus 6, x 3 to negative. So negative 3x, 2x, and negative x. That's going to be x minus 3 and x plus 2. That's equal to 0. Are we okay here?
Yes.
Now we're going to use something called, please understand this term, because a lot of people don't use it. Terminology is, the vocabulary is important. You're going to use something called a zero product property. How many of you guys have heard this before? Zero product property, sorry. Zero product property. So you guys just remember what you're doing, and you solve the problem without knowing why. That's my issue. So what is zero product? A zero product is anything multiplied by 0 is going to be 0. So what's nice thing about this, if I evaluate from one of the parentheses, I solve for 0, that 3, because 3, if I plug into a original equation here, it's going to be 3 minus 3. If 3 minus 3 is equal to 0, so it doesn't matter if here is 5, I'm still going to get 0. So since this is the same representation as this one, therefore x is equal to 3. If I plug in here, the same thing is plugged in here, so that means you're solving for it. So don't just say, oh yeah, my teacher always told me to do this, I just do it without knowing why. So please know like a vocabulary which is called zero product property. You're not only learning something, but you actually had to understand something, because you're using a little bit of math to evaluate for this. Now today you got to be able to factor, you'll be able to solve. So x plus 2 is equal to 0, x is equal to negative 2. If I plug in negative 2 here, negative 2 plus x is going to be 0. So it doesn't matter here, this side is negative 5. So I'm still going to get 0. Same thing, so you plug in here, because this is the same representation as this one. Okay. If you guys cannot see, you guys can move the chair over there. Because, okay. Now this one here is this is a very, very good question. I told you a story, it's a story in the past, like it happened to me when I was in AP Calc. I was in South Lake High School, and I taken AP Calc there. I had a really horrible teacher. The whole year I didn't learn anything. I got an A in there. Yeah. So it's just like a lot of people who have A in math classes. Because you didn't have to do a thing, you earned an A. You didn't really earn it because you really didn't know anything. So I take an AP exam, I got a 2. It was kind of sad. So I drive an hour to this high school, Dr. Phillip High School. And I go to school there because I heard that there was a very good teacher over there, Miss Potts. So kind of give you a kind of scale of how good Miss Potts is. She teach AP Calculus. She's always a person that I want to model myself to. She teach the 2 classes of AP Calc. So that just give you a perspective how good she is. She have 100% pass rate. Not only 100% pass rate, she have 100% 5. So if you're in her classroom, you don't get anything less than 5. And that's how good she is. the college board had to send her a letter says, okay, you had to select some bad student in your classroom. But she can make anybody good. She can teach you from nothing and all the way to the thing. So I drive an hour every day to go to that school, Dr. Phillip. I try to learn calculus from her because I failed my AP exam. And then I take the first test. The first test was on algebra. And this question is on the test. And I was like, well, I feel pretty comfortable after I take a test. I said, I'll probably get an 80 or 90. And I was like thinking, I'm Asian, I'm supposed to be good at math, and I was like, I should get. So I get my test back, right? I got 58%. I got 58%. I was like, there's no way I failed an algebra test so bad. I got a 58%. So I'm about to cry, and I went to Miss Potts. And Miss Potts, I went to tell her, so this is my work. I show her my work, and it's like some of you guys' work. I say I divide by both sides by x, okay, which is kind of bad. So I'm gonna get 3x squared, that's equal to 27. This is the wrong way to do it, by the way. I'll divide by both sides by 3. I'm gonna get x squared is equal to 9, and then x is equal to 3, and that's my solutions. And she write a big things on the next two. She's like, minus 20. So there we go, one question, minus 20. I'm already 80 already. I'm like, what just happened? So I went to talk to her, and she's like, okay. I said, Miss Potts, I don't know why I get 20 points off. I find the answer, and the 3, if I plug in 3, that's my answer. 3 to the third power is 27. 27 times 3 is 81. 81 is equal to 81. That's my answer. At least you should give me partial credit. And she turned around, she told me, she said, okay, you don't belong in my class. I'm like in shock. I'm like, I'm supposed to be good at math. I never scored anything less than an A on the test. So all of a sudden I got a 58, she said, and then all of a sudden she told me I don't belong in her class. And so I was kind of puzzled. So I went to ask her, so what is the right way to do it? She's like, well, you got to find out yourself. So I asked other friends, and eventually a friend showed me how to do it. Okay, so it turns out I make so many mistakes here that in one question that it was so bad. So it turns out if I go into here, right? If I take this path, I solve for it, x squared equal to 9, x shouldn't be plus minus 3. Should have plus minus, because the square root of both sides, you should have a plus minus. And you should understand why you should have plus and minus, because if I have x squared equal to 9, that means x minus 0. If I would have graphed this function, I would have the parabola as x-intercept at -3 and 3. But then I got plus minus 3, that was one of the solution, and she says, well, if you have this, I'm still gonna give you minus 20. What? So then I went back, I went to her, and I said, so what's the right way to do it? And she don't tell me, of course. She's like, well, you don't belong in my class again. So then she's like, then I found out eventually is this 3x cubed is equal to 27x. You should set the equation equal to 0. So minus 27x, that's equal to 0. And that's 3x, x plus x minus 9. I factor out GCF. Is that okay? And that's x plus 3 and x minus 3 is equal to 0. Using zero product property, x equal to 0, x plus 3 equal to 0, x equal to -3, x equal to 3. Okay, x minus 3 equal to 0, x equal to 3. So we got 3 solutions. So I say if I show this, how much credit I'll get? She says minus 20. So I had the right answer. But it turns out the question on top says using 3 ways to solve this problem. 3 ways? Are you kidding me? 3 ways to solve this problem? Yes, there are 3 ways to solve this problem. Okay? So I'm gonna show you the other two ways. On the test, you have to do this. You do to this part, it's fine. But what's the other third way? That's like, she puzzles me. Because she says 3 ways to solve the same problem. I'm like, wow. I really deserve that minus 20. Right? I can't even, you got a quarter of the 3 way, right? So I don't deserve that 20 points at all. So she said there's a 3 ways to solve the problem. So we're gonna talk about what are those 3 ways. First, let's look at 3x cubed. The question is actually x cubed equal to x. It was actually x cubed equal to x. Okay, so we're gonna use x cubed equal to x here, because that's a little bit easier. So we're gonna say x cubed equal to x. She said there's a 3 ways to solve the problem. And I said, okay, so what is the second way? I figured out the algebra way, what is the second way to solve the problem? She said, you go home and think about it. She never told me anything. So eventually, like, I found out that you can actually graph. This is equation 1, and this is equation 2. And then if it's equal, that means I'm looking for what? Intersection. Okay, so I'm gonna graph y equal to x. Right? And most of you guys probably don't know how to graph x cubed graph, but I'm gonna show you anyway, because you're gonna learn how to graph x cubed graph. X cubed graph is gonna be like this. It looks like a waterfall. So there are 3 x-intercepts.
Oh.
Okay, and those x-intercept has x values, 1, -1, 0, and 1. I just changed your question a little bit because it makes it easier for me because it's hard to graph 27x. So I just graph y equal to x. And she said that it's a second way. And I was like, well, what is the third way, right? It's really, give me like, so this, you're looking at for equation 1 and equation 2. And then you graph it. If you graph 2 equations, look for x-intercepts. And know those x-intercept is a solution. So if you say it's 1 answer, that means you're completely wrong. Not only a little bit wrong. Because there are 3 intersections. So you cannot say x equal to 3. It's the answer. X equal to plus minus 3 is the answer. X equal to 0 plus 3 negative 3 is the answer. So she got the third way. Anybody know what's the third way? Well, okay, I'll explain to you. She says, well, it's really similar to that the first way, but you graph it. Okay? Well, in order to graph this function, I need to find x-intercept. In order to find x-intercept, I'm going to say x squared minus 1, and the x times x plus 1 times x minus 1 is equal to 0. X equal to 0, x equal to -1, x equal to 1. And you graph it because this is x cubed. We're going to learn this later. We're going to use something called leading coefficient test. Have you guys ever heard about leading coefficient test in the past? A leading coefficient test is to test like the function and behavior. When I go to the left, it's going to go somewhere down because this is an r degree and this one is up. You're going to have 3 x-intercepts here, and the graph's going to be like this. And there's something called multiplicity. We're going to go review that. I know none of you guys have learned this, and I'm going to teach you that properly. So there are 3 x-intercepts here, and those x-intercepts, there's a name, what we call the x-intercept. Okay? And there are other names besides x-intercept. Also, she also says, because this is a third, that means usually you have maximum 3 answers, or 3 solutions. And you have 3 solutions. They can be complex solutions, they can be real, but in the sense that you should have 3. Because that's called fundamental theorem of algebra. We're going to talk about that. What's the fundamental theorem of algebra? Because this degree is gonna tell me how many answers are they. How many, well, not only x-intercept, but there's other names besides x-intercept. Because there are things that's not x-intercept have a different name. We can call it roots. Zeros, good. Okay. Some people even call it the solutions. Okay. So it really this three things represent so many things. It represents so many different knowledge that within one question she told me everything about the basic of algebra. And I'm like, wow, this is the best teacher I ever had. Actually, whatever I'm teaching you right now, it's all from her. I didn't learn anything here teaching you from college. She was the one person that put the biggest impact in my life. She's the one who helped me get a career in high school, right? Out of now. And she's the one that teach me everything in details. Yes, Josephine?
What would be an exception to the fundamental theory of algebra?
There's no exception.
No exception?
There's no exception. The fundamental theorem of algebra is a fundamental theorem. Theorem is the, it's it.
It's also, that's kind of what I was gonna ask, so that means if you had like, something that's 64th power, it'd be 64 solutions.
Well, 64, yes, they, not like solutions, but you're gonna have possible 60 roots, 64 roots that, you know, a lot of them are complex. You have to find it, but a lot of them, like you have x cubed, sometimes, you know, x cubed minus 8, right? X cubed minus 8, there was actually one real solution because if I do the SOAP, then I have one real solution. That's the second part, 3 term, you had to use quadratic. If you use quadratic, you're gonna find 2 complex roots, imaginary roots, okay? Because if you have 8, x squared minus 8, you're gonna get x minus 2, right? Times x squared plus 2x plus 4. That part I can use quadratic formula to find out the other 2 roots, but those 2 roots are imaginary roots, are complex. Something I is plus minus, so they are still three roots. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So although it's x cubed minus 8, there's still 3 roots. But the other 2 roots are complex. It's not on the graph. So not x-intercept is not always to be able to tell because roots are going to be imaginary. Okay? So that's going to be it. So hopefully you know how to do homework now. Set the equation equal to 0, factor it, and solve it. But how many ways to solve this problem? 3 ways. What are those 3 ways? Factoring?
Graphing?
No. Second way is actually, this is a quadratic, so you can use quadratic formula. Oh, this one has 3 ways, right? This one has 3 ways. So x cubed equal to x is 3 ways, right? Factoring, quadratic formula. The third way is going to be completing the square. So there are 3 ways to solve this quadratic formula. Okay, you guys know how to do quadratic formula with a negative b plus minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a, x equal to, and this one completed square is how you get quadratic formula. So we're gonna make all those connections. Right now, we just have this. We're just going over the factoring part because the only thing I'm gonna do with is factoring part. You have to be able to find all the answers on your homework. I'll post the answer as well. So a question about this part. No. Now we're going to talk about solving rational equation. What is rational equation? Well, it's very easy. The way to determine what is rational is when you have x on denominator. You have fraction x on denominator. So we're going to show you questions. And we're going to show you this question. 3 over x minus x plus 21 over 3x is equal to 5 over 3. So you're like, okay, when there's x on denominator, automatic rational equation. But we already know how to solve for this. How? We already teach you yesterday. Or the day before, yes.
Multiply everything by a common factor denominator.
So what would be the common denominator in this case?
3x.
Good. Do you see that? Multiply everything by 3x. Why is 3x? You have 3 here, and you have x, and they both unique, so LCD is what? 3x. I multiply everything by 3x. I'm going to distribute to this, distribute to this, distribute to this. Now, one thing you have to for sure put it down is this. Is that parentheses. Because if you don't put that parentheses, a lot of answers going to go wrong. Question about that part. Now, if I have 3x right next to here, so which thing is going to cancel? X is going to cancel because 3x over x, 3 is x going to cancel, 3 times 3 is 9. Does that make sense? 3x and 3x going to cancel.
Yeah.
That would what?
Just
1. Right? So you have to have the parenthesis. If you don't have parenthesis, you're going to have x plus 21. But you have parenthesis, then that's going to guide you the right thing. So make sure that parenthesis is needed. Every numerator has its own parenthesis. Then that's equal to 3x cancel out 3. Which thing's left? X. So it's going to be 5x. Wow. All in one step. And it's a beautiful equation, linear equation I can solve now. So 9 minus x minus 21 is equal to 5x. See that that's minus? If you don't have parentheses, you're not going to get a negative. You're going to get a positive, get a wrong answer. I already told you so. But you got to listen. I'm going to move the x to the other side, so it's going to be what? 6x. And this one's a minus 12. X is equal to negative 2. Now, here's the thing. There is 2 things that you have to pay attention to. Rational and radical, they usually have extraneous solutions. You have to double check your solution. Plug in negative 2, make sure everything works out to 5 over 3. In this case, it does. Sometimes it doesn't. You have to check the domain. So what is domain in this case? X cannot equal to what? 0. If you got x equal to 0, automatic is not solutions. Because that's violated domain. At that part, you're going to have vertical asymptote, therefore it does not exist. Question about this part? Okay. We're going to give you a couple questions for you to try. And we're going to give you more complicated questions. The first one, I'm going to give you 6x minus x plus 9 over 5x is equal to 2 over 5. The second one I'm going to give you is x plus 6 over x minus 2 is equal to 2 times x plus 2 over x minus 2. The third one is going to be 2x over 2x minus 1. This one, wait for me to go over it. Plus 1 over x is equal to 1 over 2x minus 1. You only need to work first 2. Be careful with the second one. I'll tell you before, be careful with the second one. The first one, you should get the same answer. Now be careful the second one. Be very cautious. What'd you get for the second one?
I got
Wrong.
It can't be 2 because it will be the main thing.
Wait for the first
I
one?
realize it's wrong. For the second one. Because you can't get 2 and 0. You get 2 minus 2 is 0. That's undefined.
I don't know if it's no.
So-
Okay, so the first one, if I multiply everything by 5x, right? Does that make sense? So what will happen is, it's gonna be, there's a parenthesis, don't forget. X cancel out that with 30, right? Minus x cancel out, x plus 9 is equal to what? 2x. So it'll be 30 minus x minus 9 is equal to 2x. That's equal to what? 30 minus 9 is 21. That's equal to 3x. X is equal to what? 7. The next one, I'm going to multiply this by what? X minus 2, right? Or cross multiply, either way. So that's gonna be x plus 6 equal to 2 times x plus 2. And if you solve for it, x plus 6 equal to 2x plus 4, that's gonna be x equal to 2. But 2, if you check the original domain,
Yep.
they cannot be 2, so therefore there's no solutions.
Yay. You got that.
What do you multiply here?
X times 2x minus 1.
Right, because this times this. That'd be x times 2x minus 1, right?
Yes.
2x minus 1 cancel. That would what?
2x
Square. Plus the x cancel. That would what?
2x minus 1
2x minus 1
equals x.
equal to x. 2x squared plus 2x minus 1 minus x equal to 0. 2x squared plus x minus 1. Can I factor this?
Yes.
So it'll be 2x squared minus 1x, 2x and x, 1 and 1. This is 2x and x. Which one need to be negative?
The 2x.
The bottom one, right? So it'll be 2x minus 1 and then x plus 1 equal to 0, x equal to 1/2, x equal to negative 1.
But the 1/2 won't work because it will be
Exactly. X cannot equal to what?
1/2.
Negative half. X cannot equal to 0. So 1/2 is going to cross it out. Extraneous.
That means the
I don't know how to spell extraneous.
extra and.
It's okay, nobody would be able to read it anyway.
That's why when I do like this, I go extra. Dot, dot, dot,
So
dot.
what's the oh, just negative 1?
Can you turn on the thing?
Just click the